Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. Call it the Try It podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. And how are you today, Trevor?
I'm alright. I'm trying to get the hang of this
Trying to get the
whole
hang of the
producing thing,
producing thing? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing all right so far.
making it work.
Yep. All
My
right.
my computer's CPU is going crazy when I hit record. So
We'll just do the best we can, I guess.
we'll see if it
So,
makes it.
yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We are going to go over Genesis 6 for starters. And then what else we got, Trevor?
I think we have a couple more things. We were gonna go over Epstein, just see who he is from a I have no clue who he is point. No, I don't want to turn that on.
Yeah, and so you're producing the show, so we don't have the whole still no list thing over on the overlay anyway. But we're gonna take
Oh,
it
I forgot
down.
about that. I'm
We're
sorry.
gonna we're no, it's all right. We're gonna take it down because Trump drew a hard line on all that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're gonna give it a little bit of time. So anyway, so we got the Epstein thing to cover, and then we've got. I'm going to read a chapter of The Familiar as part of the whole book advertising thing. And then lastly, we've
Wait,
got.
do I have that pulled up on mine, or are you gonna read it from
I'll just
yours?
read it from my
Okay.
desktop. It's fine. And then lastly, we've got the 82 species of aliens from the book on the race of aliens. Did you
Oh,
know there
that's
was
cool.
82 species?
That's a lot of
Yeah,
species.
like 57 of them are grays, but there's 82. So anyway, so are you ready to kick off the Bible reading? Let's just start there, huh?
I don't want to start there
Well, where do you want to start?
at the Bible reading.
Just start reading.
Uh, okay. Genesis 6, King James Version.
Okay.
And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth like they were told to, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of which they chose.
And this is where we get the Nephilim, right?
Wait. So the sons of God does that mean the angels? Or does
I've
that
always
mean
taken that to mean angels. Some people have tried to say it's like, oh, it's another word for humans, and I'm like, yeah, okay, buddy.
sons of
It's
God?
it's angels. Yeah, it's like it's not just a synonym for humans. I don't think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I believe that means angels. I think Enoch calls them watchers.
Oh
I
yeah, the
believe.
watchers. Well, I thought
Yeah,
the watchers were separate from the sons of God.
they might be.
But
I'm not super familiar, but I think I'm right. Anyway, point is, yeah, they're angels. I don't buy the whole that this is just another way to say people thing. Anyway, sorry,
okay.
go on.
Verse 3. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. So was that him saying that, like, we'll live out our days 120 years?
That's how I've always understood it. Like that's like the longest we can live. Like we can't get past 120.
Right, because
Like
this is after the fall of man.
yeah, like eventually that would be like our max lifespan. Is kind of how I
Right.
always
What was
understood it.
chapter 5 about again? I'm sorry.
Chapter 5 was the genealogies.
Right, okay. That's why
Yeah.
I forget it so easy.
Yeah.
What was that one over? Okay,
So
verse
like
4.
I guess technically you could get up to like 124, 128 or something, but I don't think has there been anybody that's actually lived to like 130 or 140 or something?
I have no clue.
They would be
I,
exceptionally rare if that was the case, I
yeah.
would imagine. So I think that it's like a max lifespan type thing. Like you get to your 120s and that'd be about it.
I
So
don't know.
that's how I've always taken it, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's another reading.
Well, maybe
Do you
we
want
could
to
look it up.
Google it? Yeah, you're the one with the
Who
share
is
spring. Google it.
the oldest person to ever live after fall of man, I guess. Or in recorded history. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Woo!
Drum roll.
AI overview. The oldest person to ever live after the fall of man, according to biblical accounts, is Methuselah. Oh. While
Modern
modern
records
records
show.
show Gene Calment
Comment.
as the oldest verified person at 122.
Yeah, so we'd pretty much be right. Like, if you're really on your health, you might get to 122 or something like that.
Yeah,
So there you go.
that's not bad. Oh no.
No, I think that'd be pretty good old age. All right, let's
No,
move on.
hang on, my laptop's trying to die on me.
Uh-oh.
Come on.
Are we gonna crash midstream?
Power cord. No, it's
All
my
right,
power
well,
cord came undone.
oh well, while you're working on that,
Come
let
on.
me just go on then. All right, so
Okay, I
there
got
were
it.
giants in the earth in those days. You got it?
Yeah.
Good, great. And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So I always kind of heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I always kind of heard that this was like where the Greek mythology comes from, like Hercules, these guys that are like legends, I guess you would say. So it would be during this period of time.
Legends of Thor.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I was taught. So, and
Okay.
God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Now remember, repented means like change your mind, you know.
Did you see
So
that? Did
he
you see
decided
what popped up over here on the
what?
ad?
What?
It's Hercules.
Get out of my head, Google, you creepy,
That was
creepy commie
crazy.
computer.
You were
All
talking
right.
about Hercules and it popped up over here. Like, wow.
Vile Orwellian communists. Anyway, so he's decided what this basically means is he's decided he's going to get rid of men. That whole change your mind, like that kind of nomenclature.
Oh boy.
So, yeah.
We
And the,
wicked people.
yep, yep. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowl of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. So he's changing his mind. He's going to unmake them, So,
That's what repentance means. Change your
yeah.
mind.
Yeah, well, this is another example of why, like, to sit there and, like, say it's like a continuous turn or a continuous effort or whatever doesn't make any sense like in other examples in scripture, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is a one-time thing. If God had repented of making men in the same way that generally like preachers try to use it now, then he wouldn't have saved Noah, you know what I mean? Like men
Yeah.
wouldn't have come back. But if repent means to change your mind, like I'm going to do something different in a specific instance, or I'm coming to a conclusion,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or I'm turning from a specific path that I'm currently on, like it's a one time thing, then it makes sense. The word repented here actually makes sense. It doesn't make sense in the way that they typically read it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it like the verb actually, yeah, it makes sense here when you just look at it as a changing of the mind or a one time thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. Sorry, just being petty. So, but Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And these are the generations of Noah. Excuse me. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, and the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them in the earth. Oh, there's something that we Did we get to the giants part already?
Uh, yeah, we passed it.
We did. Yeah, we missed. We read right past that. Dad gum. No, I wanted to take a moment to point out that it says, and also after that. So
Yeah.
the earth in those days and also after that, which kind of implies that they survived the flood or the angels came after the flood.
Well,
Like
we're
this,
about to get to Noah and the flood. This is
yeah, I know. We forgot to bring that up. I just wanted to point that out really quick. That phrase and also after that means that either the giants survived the flood at least in part, or the angels came after the flood and did the same thing. One of the two.
yeah.
So just wanted to mention that because when you get to Goliath and Canaan and the giants are back and you don't really know why. So all right, moving on. Okay,
Verse 14, I think.
yeah. And God said, yeah, I will destroy them with the earth. So, this is also an interesting phrase. I will destroy them with the earth. So, something cataclysmic is going to happen with the earth that's
So
going to
he
destroy
used
them.
Mother Nature, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. So, make thee an ark of gopher wood. Did anybody ever figure out what gopher wood was, or was it like a wood from that time only?
Yes, they linked it to uh, a wood that we still use to this day. I don't
Okay.
remember what it's called, but yes.
Okay.
I'd
Alrighty
have to
then.
research it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to Google it? Like, what is gopher wood? Since you're Mr. Producer tonight,
What? What?
you're
What?
Mr. Producer. That means you get the
What
Google. You gets the Google.
is Gopher my wood? I mean wood. Today. There is no single modern name for gopher wood because the term only appears once in the Bible in Genesis 6:14. Oh,
So they don't know what it
I
is.
could have swore I watched a documentary on this and they figured it out. And its exact wood is unknown, though theories suggest it could be cedar, cypress, pine, or even a construction method like glue laminating. But some people associate it with the rare Florida toria due to its local nickname, stinking cedar.
Hmm. So
Wow,
why would they think that's gopher wood?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, so
I'd have
I'm
to see if I can find that documentary because I
sure.
know I watched something about it at
Yeah.
some point in my life.
Well, I am going to say that it was a wood that existed back then but doesn't exist now. That's my money. But I
We
have no reason to think that,
we cut
except
it
that,
all down or it died out,
well, or it got destroyed in the flood or something. Who knows?
or it fossilized and turned into giant rocks.
I think that happened to a lot of things. But anyway, yep. All right, now I've lost my place. Okay. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, two of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. Two of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive.
Have
And
you ever heard someone try and argue? How would you be able to fit a whole bunch of animals on there? And you're like, it's very simple. babies.
Yeah, you do babies, and then you do the local like species or kinds, depending on which word you want to use in the area,
Yeah.
and it'd be fine. So it doesn't like yes, it could be more, but if you're going to be minimalistic, it doesn't have to be every single stinking thing on the planet. It could be everything within his area. It could be everything within the region.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to assume it's the whole world. But anyway, I mean, of course, the Almighty could have done that if he wanted to, but you just don't have. There's just no reason to assume it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and after, during the ark, they could have been really close to the Garden of Eden, which had all the animals in it to begin with, because Adam
Yeah,
had to name them all. That's just a
yeah.
theory of mine, but I don't know.
Well, if the climate's relatively even, then the same basic types of animals are going to be found throughout anyway. But
Yeah,
that's like
and,
a whole. That's a whole conversation.
yeah, and then
Um,
after the flood, once they get off the boat, they migrate just like
yeah,
humans do.
yeah. Another thing that I want to point out is I was reading a couple years ago. I read William Lane Craig's what is that book? The Historical Adam, I think is what it was called. And they were talking about how a lot of these he doesn't believe in the literal interpretation of scripture, so he thinks that this is all kind of allegory and stuff, kind of from the time. And one thing I can kind of see that with Genesis, and I can see that with like the first 5 chapters. But one thing about the flood narrative is how much specificity goes into like actually describing how the ark is built.
Yeah,
And in my mind, I'm like, this is awfully specific for a poetic narrative. Like, we're not talking the Garden of Eden where like Adam's name literally means man. And so it's like not inconceivable, but Adam is kind of like a personified archetype for all men or something. Like, there's certain poetic tells that could kind of lead you to think that maybe it's just, poetry of a sort or like an abbreviation of what actually happened. But here it's like it goes into a degree of detail that I don't think is super common with like ancient lore. I could be
yeah.
wrong about that, but this just seems awfully specific for allegorical type story. But if somebody has a different opinion, they're willing to state why they think the other thing. So,
Other
anywho,
thing, state, think, ouch.
I hate thinking. Don't make me think. Anyway, so okay, let's see where were we at.
21, I think.
Yes, and take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Moving on to chapter 7. And
We're
the
gonna
Lord
go ahead and
said,
start chapter 7.
yeah, we got another 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
And the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every Hello, Calyx. It's good to
Hey,
see ya.
Kalex, welcome back.
All right. We're reading about Noah's Ark and the flood. So let's see where we are. Okay. Of every clean beast. Okay, let me just start over. And the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in two and two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month of the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Excuse me.
Could you
In the self
imagine that
same day. Hmm.
after not seeing that type of rain like ever, and then all of a sudden it's been raining for a whole month or more?
Yeah.
It's, I just my brain can't even like. That's a lot of rain.
What's interesting, though, is that the rain's not actually what caused the flood.
The
It was a consequence of it, but it was the fountains of the deep breaking
fountains
open,
of the deep that, yeah,
which is fascinating to me. So it's some kind of seismic event,
yeah.
basically. I don't know if you ever saw the earthquake in Japan in 2011.
Oh yeah, that one was bad.
Yeah, well, one of the during the earthquake, you got to see a process that I could be wrong about this, but I believe it is called liquefaction. And what I mean by that term, assuming it's the correct term, is that when there's fissures in the earth and it breaks, the the halves, I guess you would say, the plates or whatever, they rub up against each other. And that process of those two halves of the earth rubbing up against each other, it actually forces groundwater up. And so in Japan, when that earthquake was happening, you could actually see the fissures pressing and opening up like a mouth and water spurting out while that was
Wow.
happening. So you can kind of see that that was what was happening here, is that there were fissures breaking up in the earth, and the liquefaction was actually pushing the water to the surface. So yeah, you've got it out here on Google.
Yeah.
Liquefaction is a phenomenon where water saturated loose soil temporarily loses strength and acts like a liquid. Well, and that's, yeah, most commonly triggered by earthquake shaking, causing structures to sink, tilt, or fall, and leading to hazards like landslides, ground fissures, and sand boils. Yeah,
That's
so that's
crazy.
basically what happens. It actually pulls the groundwater to the surface, and that was actually what caused the flood.
Wow.
So it was more of a seismic thing, and
So
the rain was a secondary consequence of some sort. We don't know exactly what caused the rain, but the thing that actually caused the flood was the fountains of the deep.
so do you think you could link Pangea to it?
Quite possibly. In fact, I haven't done a whole lot of research into this, but there's something called rapid plate tectonics, where they think that something hit the Earth and it struck in the right spot, caused a fissure or a seam on the planet, and it actually broke the continents into pieces rapidly rather than slowly. So it's one
Gotcha.
of those things where it's like everything moved apart really quick and then kind of slowed down over like a year or something like that. And by
So
the end, everything was kind of approximately where it is now.
so if something hit like say the Grand Canyon area,
It'd probably
blew
be
a
bigger than that, like
huge
something where
chunk
the
out of it.
Bering, something like where I think the Bering Strait is, or the Marianas Trench is now, or something like that, like something in the
Oh,
ocean.
going
Yeah,
that deep, huh?
something big. Yeah. So
Isn't
that's the
there
theory.
another spot that's
Have to
deeper
look more
than
into it.
the
Hmm?
trench? Isn't there a deeper spot than the trench?
I don't know.
Oh,
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That fountain, they always, for some reason, everybody kind of harps on the rain, but it's like, well, it says right here it was the fountains of the deep. I
yeah.
mean, so it was groundwater coming up to the surface. I mean, that's what that means. So I don't. The rain was a part of it. It rained in Noah's area, but it didn't rain all over the whole planet. While the rain was happening, the fountains of the deep broke up.
I got you.
You know, at least that's what I'm reading. You can tell me if I'm reading into it, but that when I look at that, that's kind of the impression I get when you look at 10 and 11, and then 12 comes after 10 and 11, which kind of implies to me that the rain came after the fountains of the deep break up.
Right.
Anyway, so do you have any thoughts, Mr. Trevor? While I relight my cigar and try not to cough like an old man.
Yeah, that's scary. I think Kent Hovind has a theory that the pressure was so high that that's how you get the craters on the other side of the moon. Was it shot out that far?
Hmm.
and that's how it was able to break through the outer layer of the Earth, that water layer or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what broke it, and that's why like dinosaurs suffocated and stuff, because the air pressure was so completely changed.
You mean the canopy theory?
Yeah, the canopy theory. Yeah,
Yeah. So in Hovind's interpretation, at least the older one that I saw, he believed in like this ice dome that was over the Earth,
yeah,
kind of in the upper layer, and then a comet smashed into it and broke up that dome, and then the dome actually collapsed, yeah, onto the Earth, and that's what caused the flood, and that's what caused the breaking up of the crust, because something had to hit the crust hard enough to cause a seismic event that forced the water underground to come up to the surface.
wow,
And so I don't think it's a completely implausible theory, because the thing that's interesting about the I guess the evidence that we have is when you look at, I guess, mammoths and some of the animals found up in the far north, they're frozen solid, but the matter that they were eating, the grass and the plant life that they were eating, it's actually still green.
yeah. So they were
And there's,
frozen instantly.
yeah, because hydrochloric acid doesn't know you're dead.
Yeah,
So it had to happen within like 20, they had to be frozen solid inside of like 20, 30 minutes or something like that, or maybe a couple hours even. But the bottom line is there's nothing on Earth that could get cold enough to do that.
no,
So whatever buried them had to be like something from space. Like it had to be a very extreme cold temp.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I think the comet idea or even the ice dome idea has some plausibility, because
Yeah,
something from space had to hit them in that area in order for them to freeze that and to freeze a mammoth. I mean, a mammoth's a pretty big animal, so
yeah.
had to be pretty cold. So anyway, just interesting little anomalies like that. All right, where were we? We talked
13, verse 13.
13. And the self same day, Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the three wives of his sons, with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, two and two of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life.
Let me stop you there. Have you ever seen someone argue the kind argument? Like, what does the kind mean? Like, what does kind mean?
I think it's kind of
After
getting
his
into.
kind.
I like Ken Hoban's approach to that argument. Honestly, I think it's kind of pedantic. Like it's a semantics game, because it's like, look, you know the difference between a dog and a wolf and a rabbit.
Yeah,
Like it's, yeah, there's gonna be like arguments about distinctions in
yeah,
in the particulars, but generally, somebody back then probably isn't going to look at a whale and consider it a mammal the way we think of a mammal. It's like
right.
they probably wouldn't care that the whale produces milk and has live births, and
It
they
was just a
wouldn't they
big
wouldn't
fish.
harp on those minor distinctions. They would think of it as a fish,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And so it's like, yeah, they had their own categorization system, and it was probably pretty broad, because there wasn't the multi-billion-dollar NGO grant, economy that was keeping the scientific community running, so they could fight about pedantic definitions and
yeah.
justify their existence. So, anyway, that might
It,
be a
it
little snarky, but anyhow.
well, it baffles me that they're like, what does it mean? And they'll just ask that same question over and over and over again. What does of their kind mean? I just explained it to you, you know, and they'll ask it again right after you get done explaining it.
It's like, is there a
Same question.
difference between a dog and a cat?
And they won't admit that. They'll be like, that doesn't tell me what kind it is.
Well, no, not technically. They have fur. It's like, you're just being petty.
Yeah,
Obviously, there's a difference between a dog and a cat. And the point is, they had their own way of understanding those differences. It's not going to be the same as ours. But they had a way of classifying it. That's all you need to know. I mean, it's a broad definition, but at the same time, everybody recognizes the difference between a dog and a cat, or a dog and a banana, or whatever. So I
Cat
like,
goes,
I can't help but like Hoven's aggravated contempt for those people. It
cat
makes
goes,
me
woof, dog goes, meow.
yeah, yeah. It's like I just I appreciate it because it's like you're just being petty. You know what it means. They had they classified the animals their own way, and he brought them in based on that classification.
It's almost,
And that's all. Yeah.
it's almost like me asking, what is a woman?
Well, I don't know. They both got skin. It's hard to tell, Trevor.
What's the definition? What is a man? What is a woman?
Someone. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
let's move on. Where were we at? Let's see.
15, 16.
All right. Yeah, and they that went in, male and female, of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. Now, see, if this was a poetic narrative, I don't think you'd be getting numbers like 15 cubits.
How
Like,
long
I
is
think that
how
implies
long
that
is a
this is
cubit?
meant to be a record, and I believe the record. I don't remember. I think it's like from tip of the finger to elbow, if I remember correctly. So
How
that measurement's going to vary depending on the
long
person.
is a cubit? Yeah, 18 inches
Yeah,
for standard.
yeah.
With longer versions, it could reach about 21.
Right. So it's
Or,
an approximate thing.
yeah,
But the bottom line is that's a specific number. I don't think they would be giving specific numbers if this was meant to be read as an allegory. That's just my opinion.
yeah.
I wouldn't make the same claim necessarily about the Garden of Eden, but or like the story of creation, but this I think is definitely meant to be read literally. That's just my own thoughts on it. So, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. And all in whose nostrils was the breath of life of all that was in the dry land died, and every living substance was destroyed which was upon the earth of the ground, both man and cattle and the creeping things and the fowl of heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Now, this gets us into an interesting question because it's saying here that everything died.
Everything.
But we also have the giants line up here implying that the giants lived. So there's like a couple things that you can read from this. At least I think. So it's where is that line? Why in the Oh, that was in 6 because I'm an idiot. In 6 it said that the giants were there after the flood, implying either the angels kept doing what they were doing or they survived. So this begs the question, did the angels come back after the flood and continue what they were doing before? Or is this these lines about everything being destroyed in at the end of 7, is that supposed to be like hyperbole, as in, okay, generally speaking everything died, but not literally universally every single last thing that breathed died? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
Because
I mean,
sometimes it's like for example, in a movie, somebody might scream, "Kill them all," but they don't mean literally kill them all. They mean go get them, attack, you know,
right.
be super aggressive. You know what I mean? Like, is this hyperbole, or is this meant to be like literally everything died?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
you've
I
either
mean,
got you've either got an interpretation where the angels can like went back and did the same thing again after the flood,
yeah.
or you've got this interpretation where this is just hyperbole and some of the giants survived. Or maybe you could say the giants weren't actually sentient. Like maybe you could say that. But then again, that wouldn't necessarily work. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head, that wouldn't necessarily work because it's saying everything else, like every living substance was destroyed. So it can't be that they weren't technically alive in the sense that they were sentient. So Yeah, you're left with one of two interpretations. Either the angels came back and did the same thing again later, or the idea that everything was destroyed is basically hyperbolic.
And I believe I heard a, a documentary where somebody was saying like they linked it's in Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy. I think it's Deuteronomy where it talks about the lineages of the three sons,
Uh huh.
and I think it's Shem. They actually, because his wife was part of the lineage of the giants, I think, and that's
So
how
they
they
think one of the
were.
wives was connected to
One
the
of the
giants.
wives was connected to that lineage,
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that.
and that was a theory.
That's a possibility. I mean,
Because one of them that gets off the boat doesn't follow Noah's teaching and goes off on his own, right?
well, he makes fun of his dad when he's passed out, drunk and naked, and then the dad gets mad. Noah gets mad and punishes him and sends him off. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
maybe we'll read about that later.
yeah, that'd be the next chapter. So no, that's
Okay.
an interesting one. I hadn't heard that. Is there a particular reason why they think that, or were they just kind of
They were just
like
theorizing.
postulating?
It was
Okay,
theory.
okay,
You know,
fascinating.
a
All
lot of
right, well,
a lot of what we read into is theoretical. So
yeah, that's true. We're just speculating. So tell me if there's another theory out there in the comments if you got one. So let's see.
if you
Let's
got one,
wrap this up. And every living substance was destroyed which is upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven. And they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him, and they that were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed upon the earth, an 150 days. And that's the end of 7. We got through 2 chapters in one sitting. We were booking
wow,
tonight, Trevor. Look at
heck
us.
yeah, well done
Heck yeah.
in 38 minutes.
38 minutes. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. All right, so that we'll pick up chapter 8 next week. Any final thoughts, good sir?
Nope, I think we're doing all right.
All
So
right. Well, we're going to end the first segment of this. If you are watching the live stream, stay with us. We've got another 3 segments left. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time on to
on
section
to
2. What
section
is
two.
section 2, Mr. Trevor? What do you want to talk about next?
All right. So do you want me to do an intro?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Faith Fiction and Folklore, or the Try F podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up. And this time we're going to take a look at who is, or who was, Jeffrey Epstein. And I wanted to look at it from a um, a view of I have no clue who Epstein is. I've never heard of the guy. I'm going to just blank slate.
Start
I
from
heard
0.
start from zero. I heard on the news everybody's making a big deal about this Epstein guy. Who is he? So I thought I would bring up his Wikipedia page and look at a couple videos just to kind of start where if I didn't know who the guy was. And
In other words, you want me to shut up so you
no,
can learn.
I want your opinion.
That's
So
right. Go forth. Let's see. What is the reliable source known as Wikipedia have to
so
say about this man?
Wikipedia in all their wonderful splendor. Thank you, Wikipedia, by the way.
Kalix says, "Yippee!"
Yippee! He's probably like, I don't want to listen to this crap. All right, Jeffrey Epstein was born January 20th, 1953, and it doesn't say he died. And was it
Yeah,
2019?
yeah. It's
So
2019, August 10th,
August 10th,
2019.
2019, he died. He was an American financier. What does that mean? Investor.
He made deals in Wall Street,
Oh,
supposedly.
okay.
In reality, he was the Better Call Saul figure. He was Saul Goodman in the Iran-Contra thing and the War of the Mujahideen, but that's a whole other subject. But again, I'm shutting up because you know nothing. So go for it.
He got his start as an investor, financier.
Allegedly,
Okay.
yes.
Allegedly. In real estate. And convicted child sex offender. Oh boy. We're not going to read into that because we all know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I don't even want to read about him. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about?
Oh no, you're committed, dude. You gotta see this horrible nightmare through.
He began his professional career as a teacher at the Dalton School. After his dismissal from the school in 1976, he entered the banking and finance sector, working at Bear Stearns in various roles before starting his own firm.
Okay. I have to stop. I'm sorry. There's so much that's not being said here. So the Dalton School is like a school for the super rich elite. So it's
Okay.
one of these like high-end education places. It was ran by Bill Barr's dad. He wrote a book just so we know the caliber of human beings we're dealing with. And this comes from Alex Jones. I did not discover this was Alex Jones's. He's made this claim multiple times and he's right. But Bill Barr, his dad, ran the school and he wrote this book called Space Relations. And it is about children, young girls being, you know what, by like alien overlords. So it's got this creepy PDF file motif in the book. I think it was called Space Relations.
So as soon as he started investing, it's linked to him already.
Yeah, like, well, it's basically he was going from one project to the next, let's say, because these guys are all in intelligence. You know what I mean? So he's in a very small intelligence circle. So he's kind of moving from the financial sector where he was doing intelligence work to a school where he's also doing a different kind of intelligence work, essentially. Wow. So okay, go on. I'm sorry. I'm being pretentious. So
that's what it says here. Epstein cultivated an elite social circle. So what you were talking about, and procured underage girls who were subjected to repeated and sexual violence by him and his associates. So he's a POS. In 2005, police in Palm Beach, Florida began investigating Epstein after a parent reported that he had abused their 14-year-old daughter. Federal officials identified 36 girls, some as young as 14 years old, whom Epstein had allegedly sexually abused. He pleaded guilty and was convicted in 2008 by a Florida state court of procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute. And they let this guy keep walking around?
Yeah, he got a sweetheart deal because he worked for the CIA, according to Acosta, so they gave him a break.
He was convicted of only these two crimes as a part of a controversial plea deal agreed by the U.S. Department of Justice's Alexander Acosta, and he served 13 months in custody with extensive work release. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Abused at least 36 little girls and was released after 13 months.
Yep. Nothing weird there. Nothing weird at all. It was a hoax, Trevor.
Wow. That's crazy. So, anyways, I looked on YouTube for a video just to kind of try and get to know the guy, like, to see what he was about. And I found this from 5 years ago. It's from The Barbarian, and they just kind of put a montage of him being interviewed. So I thought we'd look at this.
All right, sounds good.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am. Would you please state your full name? I'm Jeffrey Edward Epstein.
I'm good.
And my residence address is 6100 Red Hook Boulevard in Virgin Islands. Do you maintain any other residences presently?
I have vacation homes in New Mexico, Palm Beach, New York, and Paris.
Okay, I'm gonna pause you. You got quite the link
Have you ever been
lag going on there.
Yeah, it's my recording. If I turn recording off, it'll stop.
Oh.
Do you want me to stop
Raggy.
recording?
Let's try something else there to offset the lag. Just I would pull up a picture of the guy, like Epstein, maybe go back to the Wikipedia page and then just play it in the background so the lag isn't super distracting since your computer's not
So just
cooperating.
leave it here.
Yeah, just leave it there and play it for a couple minutes.
So, play.
Just hit
Convicted of a
play.
crime?
Yeah.
Bring that
Yes.
Yeah.
What was
That way
the
people can at least
crime
hear
of
it,
which
but
you
it's
were
not
convicted?
distracting.
Two counts. One, soliciting prostitution and procuring a minor for prostitution.
Did you in fact commit those acts?
I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution?
Same answer.
How many times have you solicited a minor for prostitution in the state of Florida?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for prostitution in the Virgin Islands?
Same answer.
That is, you are invoking your Fifth Amendment,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, Mr. Squirrel.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New York?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in New Mexico?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited for prostitution in Paris?
Same answer.
Have you ever solicited a minor for
Do you
prostitution
want to pause?
anywhere at any time?
That's
So
crazy.
so the New Mexico thing is particularly crazy because apparently him and I believe a guy named Peter Nygaard. I think that's his name, Peter Nygaard. You might want to Google that, make sure I got that right. But they were into these like weird eugenics program things where they were supposedly the charge is they were making women breed and then they were harvesting the kids and using their bodies as like ways to keep themselves young, like vampires would be the simplest way to put it. And that was apparently going on in this ranch in New Mexico. So he's got a ranch where this same stuff was happening, and then supposedly at this ranch, this even wilder kind of like
Is that him?
island of Dr. Yes, Peter Nygaard. That is him. He's currently in prison, I believe. But apparently they were into this weird eugenics stuff where they were, I don't know if eugenics is the right word, experimentation, maybe, where they're basically killing kids to keep themselves young like vampires is the charge. So, yeah. So
That's scary.
So he was I don't know if these two ran around together or not. I can't remember, but it was the same. Supposedly, it was the same kind of deal going on at the New Mexico ranch. So that's a whole other thing that nobody's even talking about right now.
Maybe we should bring that up.
Yeah, that's a conversation unto itself. But since I should be shutting up and you're starting at 0, I will shut up.
Well, I mean, as someone who I've never really looked into the whole Epstein thing until we brought it up on our channel. So I literally didn't really know anything about it until it all blew up here in the last year or so.
Yeah. It's just a horrible deal, man.
So personally, I just wanted to do something like this.
No, by all means,
learn
I'll
more
shut
about
up.
it. Well, you don't have to shut up. I want to hear. I want to hear it all. Just so I know what's going on. Because most of the time I feel in the dark when we're
Sure
talking about it.
Well, I'm also trying to speak very broadly because there's a lot of stuff on this, and it's hard to know what is and isn't true. It's kind of why not releasing the list was so frustrating because was that stuff at the ranch that these there's all these accusations about the ranch. Or like, was that actually happening? Was it not happening? There's really only one way to know, and that is to see what the FBI actually had.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much misinformation and information mixed together with this guy. It would be really nice to know what actually happened. And we can't even get a vague sense of what happened because the FBI is trying to cover its own butt. And all they're really doing, which we didn't mention this, but when those those files, the first wave of files came out and they were 90% redacted, it's a good thing our federal government's so professional. They couldn't even redact it right. So they were using a black magic marker instead. And so people were copying and pasting and basically putting it in Adobe or Word and reading the redactions. And so, of course, lo and behold, of course they're not wiping out the victims' names. What they're doing is they're trying to keep you from playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Which is to say they're trying to keep you from making the connections. They're trying to keep you from seeing how one guy is connected to another guy and how so they're trying to protect all possible like links to Epstein with their friends. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're trying to keep you from doing I don't know if in Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie's in the mailroom and you got all the boxes of yarn and it's like there is no Santiago or whatever the guy's name was. They're trying to keep you from making the connections with the guy. So they're blocking names and who knew who and all of that. They're not protecting the victims. They're full of crap when they say that. So that's very frustrating because there's a lot being said and we don't know what's actually true and what's not.
Yeah.
And it would be really nice to get some closure as to what this guy did and see the people who actually did things go to jail.
Yeah. And not just be able to buy their way out after a few months.
Right, exactly. If they go to jail at all.
If they go to jail at all.
And that's something that just... I'm glad we're getting some information, but I have to be honest, my ire towards our president hasn't really dwindled very much.
10% of how much was blacked out?
Oh, I want to say that the original trove, I think they only put out like 10,000 documents or something. The original trove was 700,000, I think. And then they found an addition, supposedly. Of course, they could be lying because they're trying to slow roll it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because we haven't, to my knowledge, we really haven't gotten anything new since they announced this. But they recently announced that they found another 1 million documents at the Southern District of New York.
1 million?
1 million. 1 million documents on this guy.
Jeez.
And they're going, oh my gosh, this is so much material. And frankly, I don't even know if I believe them because I think they're just saying this out of the blue so that they can kind of hold off on the initial 690,000 they were supposed to release but haven't. And it's like, oh, it's just taking so long, and they're just hoping people forget about it.
No,
they're just
forget about it.
Yeah, I don't intend to, but they're just dragging this thing out as long as they possibly can. And
it sounds like if we were to cut the head off of this snake, if you will, it would solve a lot of the issues with child trafficking.
Yeah, it's a big component of it. That's why it's one of the reasons why the border got opened. I mean, this is a whole thing, but the bottom line is it's the CIA, it's the NSA, these are honeypot operations. Like that, the fact that this guy worked for the CIA is as confirmed as it can possibly be. Like we showed Mike Benz showing how he got his start.
Yeah.
We know that Acosta said he worked for the CIA. We know he ran around bragging, claiming he worked for the CIA. Like, there's multiple sources saying this guy was CIA. And so what he was doing is he was running a honeypot operation. It's just, was it, and I think at this point we've even confirmed that it was kids. It wasn't just 16 going on 17 because we have seen pictures of him with kids now. And so, I mean, what's left is how does this thing with the ranch tie in? And we really need to see the records, the financial records, because, how much of our taxpayer dollars were going to this operation? You know what I mean? How much of it was Mossad? How much of it was MI6? How much of it was us? But this is the thing, Trevor, is like this. Remember the analogy I gave several weeks ago? It's like, if you want to understand how all this kind of is you have the big bankers and the British kind of academic royal class. They're kind of the brain of this whole thing. And then you've got the CIA, who's kind of like the hand of this thing. You've got the NGOs and the news media. They're kind of like the watch inside the guy's hand. And, they're also like the gears and the clocks and everything like that. And then you have the blackmail racket. That's like the battery, like the engine that makes all of this turn is what this guy was doing. It's the blackmail. If you cut off the blackmail racket, you get rid of a lot of these guys' power because this is how they control policies. They get dirt on each other. And it's also like a gang initiation. Like you have to go and do something illegal so everybody has dirt on you so you can even join in their reindeer games. It's just like the mafia, expecting you to kill a guy to become a made man, or like a gang member expecting you to rob a convenience store to join the gang. I guess the same concept, only with these like rich people.
Yeah. It's not just simply go get a tattoo and you're part of the group.
Right. No, it's like it's got to be illegal,
Yeah.
There's got to be a risk to it. I mean, otherwise, what's the point? You've all got to have dirt on each other.
Wow.
So you're part of the club, that kind of thing. So if you uncover this, you remove a lot of the power that they actually have, which is why they don't want it. Yeah.
They don't want it out like that.
Right. And that's not even getting into the New Mexico stuff. That's just what we know about the island.
Wow. I did find, you know who Tyler Oliveria is? He's a YouTuber. He sneaks into places and tries to uncover things. I found a video of him sneaking onto Epstein Island. I was gonna see if you wanted to take a look at that.
Sure. By all means.
So, all right. Well, we'll look at that and see what he uncovers. And so the first bit of this was him talking to people about it, and then they kind of scope out the place. And he talks about another guy who did it before him, and then so I'll play it right when they get on the island.
Get on shore. Let's get on shore.
Okay, I'm on the island. The temple's behind me. I'm going straight for the temple.
So do you know anything about the temple that was on there?
Not really. I mean, I just know that it was like, your typical pagan stuff. I mean, to me, without getting into too much detail, it suggests MI6 because they're kind of, it's a whole thing, but I don't know the particulars of what Epstein's temple was specifically. Like, I know it's just pagan nonsense, but there's people who do. I'm sure there's people who've looked into it intensely. Like Luke Rakowski from We Are Change might know on his YouTube channel. He might know some stuff because I bet you he's the guy this guy's going to refer to who snuck on the island before, because Luke Rakowski did get on that island back when everything happened in 2019. And then Jones talks about a lot of the pagan stuff, like in older episodes, I believe. So, yeah, wearechange.org, I think, would know about the pagan stuff.
Wow.
If I were to guess. So, anyway, sorry, go on.
There's the arches right there.
Yes, I love this game.
We're adding.
IXL is actually a learning app that helps him excel.
They're running up. The wrong fucking turn.
I had made it to the beach undetected, and I was headed towards the temple. Now, with this temple as the source of the signal interference, it was only logical that there might be something hiding there waiting for me to find. And keep in mind, this is a rough map of the island, and right now I'm here. And this is where I'm headed, forcing me to essentially sneak up a cliff to hopefully avoid security.
Don't get fucking arrested. Jesus Christ. Using all the skills I learned from playing video games right now, I'm atop the hill. We have not been detected.
Video games. I learned how not to get detected.
Well, there you go. Good luck with that.
Yet, which is surprising. There's the drone in the air. There's Tyler.
And my basic strategy here is to find something
How
to
long
hide
ago
behind.
was this?
2 years ago.
Good
when
night.
he's
That would have
stuck
been
on there.
Yeah, that's all, they still have drones and security almost 2 years after the fact, huh?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. All right, sorry, go on.
Gain my breath, and then run as fast as I can, slowly making progress to the temple and avoiding security along the way.
My cardio's gassed. I'm gonna keep going on this road. Looks like it's built for go-karts. Let's keep going. We're going for it, baby. We've been detected. We've gotten to the side. I've not been detected yet. I see this. Looks like an unfinished home. We have that right there. I'm getting cooked out here in the sun to the temple.
Dude, that lag is something else, man.
Is it bad? Is it real bad?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty
Okay.
bad, dude.
But anyways,
I'm sorry to say.
he makes it to the temple and he gets seen, and so he just hightails it out of there.
Yeah.
But he talks mostly about the temple on there. I was kind of hoping you would know more about the temple that was there, what it's all about. But
yeah, unfortunately, I don't. I've seen the inside of it. There's not a lot to it. There's some. No, that's the library. Yeah, they didn't really find anything interesting when they went inside the tunnel. People wonder if there's like something underground under it, but I don't think there's actually been anybody who's had any reason to think that beyond the fact that the temple just being there by itself doesn't really make any sense. So, you know. Unfortunately, I know I'll say what I do know a little bit about this. A lot of the creepy pagan kid stuff comes out of Britain. So the fact that you have this paganism mixed with the trafficking, that tends to suggest kind of like British royalty, like British money ties, because they tended reputationally, allegedly, they tend to be into that. Yeah, they tend to be into that.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
That is the 3,000-foot view on that.
Wow. Let's see. What else we got? Let's see. Epstein was... Oh, wait. Let me pull this back up. So, Epstein was arrested again on July 6th, 2019 on federal charges for the sex trafficking of minors in Florida and New York. And he died in his jail cell on August 10th, 2019. So, do you think that he actually, like, killed himself, or...
No, he was murdered. He was brutally and horribly murdered. In fact, one of the things that came out with this recent batch of files is that he was complaining about somebody strangling him, his jail cell buddy. So if you were, liable to kill yourself, why would you be complaining about somebody trying to kill you? Right. So, no, he was absolutely murdered, 110%. There's no way he killed himself. And I don't know if you've seen the cell, but it's just the idea that he even could is just stupid. Like, there's not, like, those places are designed so you can't do that. Like, the sheets are too weak, apparently. And, I mean, he would have to have hung himself on his bunk bed. And, like, literally...
There's really no way to do that unless you're super short.
Yeah, no, there's no way. Somebody made an AI video that kind of replicated what they described approximately. It's just goofy. It's him on his knees, kind of going, trying to, like, choke himself with those sheets. It's ridiculous. It's like physically impossible for him to have died the way they described in that cell.
Because your body naturally tries to save itself before you actually get to that point.
Yeah, and there's this thing called physics. It's like, if you're going to lie, it needs to be consistent with physics. I don't care how much you insist. If you're looking at the cell going, there's only a bunk bed here, and the sheets are like plastic, and the guy's like 6'5", it's physically impossible. Or I don't know if he was 6'5", but he was tall, and the bed was, there's no way. It was physically impossible for him to do it. In fact, Steven Crowder attempted to, like... He, as a stunt in one of his live streams, he attempted to do what they said Epstein did. And of course, you can't even get close. Like, it's just goofy. What they suggested is just goofy. And they cited the New York medical examiner there, but, I think it was another examiner that said the way that his bones were crushed, it was consistent with strangulation.
Wow.
And apparently his jail cellmate was the size of a gorilla. So, you got this big burly buff guy
Imagine
that's
that.
known for murder. Oh yeah, it's weird.
Why would they put him with a jailmate?
Oh, I wonder
Why?
why. Yeah. Anyway, but nothing to see here. Everything's fine.
Since Epstein's death precluded the possibility of pursuing criminal charges against him, a judge dismissed all criminal charges on August 29th, 2019. Epstein had a decades-long association with Ghislaine Maxwell, who recruited the young girls for him, leading to her 2021 conviction of sex trafficking for helping him procure girls. It just makes no sense as to why a woman would do this to young girls. I
Well,
don't get it.
there's a lot of evil in the world, man. I can't say why she did what she did.
Like, was she paying him that much money to do that?
Well, I don't think she was the mastermind. I mean, I think she was helping him, but she wasn't in charge of it.
Well, here's part of a list right here. His friendships with public figures, including Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Yeah, Andrew. That's
Prince Andrew.
formerly
Oh.
Prince Andrew. Yeah.
Donald Trump, Bill Clinton have attracted significant controversy. Yep, and that's kind of why I wanted to look into it from scratch, was just to see if we could kind of come up with our own little tiny.
Well, I wouldn't start with Wikipedia. That's for
You wouldn't start with Wikipedia?
No.
What would you start with?
Anything else? I would start with Alex Jones. I would
Makes
start
sense.
with, Schoolhouse Rock, like literally anything but Wikipedia. It's literally the most unreliable
Source.
site. And yeah. Like,
Oh.
don't you remember in high school when the teachers were like, don't ever use Wikipedia? It was a
No.
piece of crap back. They never said, oh my gosh. My high school teachers were like, don't you stay away from Wikipedia. It's the most unreliable thing in the world. It can be edited in real time. I was expressly banned from using Wikipedia in high school.
Yeah, no,
They doggedly refuse to let us use it. I still don't use it. When I'm writing articles, unless it's like, like Wiki Fan, which has like a synopsis of like main characters and stuff, like quick definitions. I'll use it for that. If it's like fiction and it's just describing a character in a work of fiction, I'll use it. But if I'm doing anything academic at all, I will go to Encyclopedia Britannica, which isn't great, but it's better. But I'll use them. I avoid Wikipedia like the plague.
Yeah, no, the whole cite your sources.
Yeah.
Type of writing, I skipped out on all that. I never had to cite my sources for anything.
Really?
So, like, if I did a book report, which I only did like 3 of them my whole life, and I never had to cite my sources. So, because my senior year in high school, the teacher that was doing English before my senior year retired. So all I had my whole senior year of English was substitute teachers mostly.
Oh, yeah.
So the one main teacher I had only had us do like 3 book reports, and I didn't have to cite any sources or anything.
Well, that's a shame. Yeah, I learned how to do bibliographies in Spanish class, but I did learn them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no, yeah, I'd stay away from Wikipedia. It's never going to give you a good answer on anything ever. Doesn't matter what the subject is. So.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Yeah, I mean, it gave you a very broad synopsis about what the party line is, but
So it was a.
it's not going to go into detail.
It's not going to go into detail. It's just going to give you the broad sense of who someone is.
From a very, very Big Brother perspective, yes.
Oh, I got you.
Like if you want to know what Big Brother thinks about something, you would go to Wikipedia.
So if we were to look at a more reliable source, and there would be a whole bunch more in between all this, and it would be blacked out. Basically, is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
yeah. The first-hand sources are all going to be blacked out.
I got
So, but I mean, hey, not all of it, and thankfully the government messed it up. So people have copy and pasted a lot of the blacked out stuff. So there's that.
Where can we go
But
to
no.
find that? Do you know?
Oh, we went there last time we did a story on this. It was the DOJ.gov. Remember? We went and looked at the pictures.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you just go to the DOJ and look at their documents. I mean, Alex Jones has been. I first heard about this, I think it was 2015, 2016, from Alex Jones. Luke Rakowski's been following it for over a decade. There are people out there that have been talking about it. But the reason we're talking about it is because when I first heard of this, it was a conspiracy theory. Like it was one of those wild, crazy, this would never happen in real life types of conspiracy theories. In fact, I only heard about it because I was doing research for the book series that I'm now promoting like a demon, I guess. And I had it in my head that I was going to write a story about monsters and conspiracy theories in the same universe. And I started listening to Alex Jones, trying to do research on what the conspiracy theories even were. And this was one of them that I came across, and I was like, this is insane. This would never happen. In fact, this one disgusted me so much that I quit listening to Alex Jones until 2019 when this actually turned out to be true. And I remembered him talking about it, and I went, holy crap. So that's why we bring this up so much, is because when this first was mentioned, it was considered a conspiracy theory and nobody believed it. And now it's in the news.
Wow.
So it just goes to show,
Yeah.
You shouldn't just dismiss ideas out of hand. Like I judged Alex Jones and thought this is too nuts. I can't go on listening to this. And I was wrong to do that because apparently this has actually happened.
Yeah. I gotta go. I will be right back.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's good. Anyway, so I guess it's just you and me, dear viewer. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but yeah, that was my introduction into this. So I know that we're not really a politics channel. That's not what we're trying to be. But, when I thought of the term folklore, I usually think of things that are like stuff that people talk about and spread around. It's like stuff, urban legends, things that kind of grow up organically. And this was one of those things that was kind of one of those rumors on the wind for years and years. And then it turns out that the island specifically was a real thing. And so it felt like it needed to be talked about, partially because I felt bad for being so like dismissive of Jones and kind of disgusted by him for even making the story up. I judged him. I shouldn't have judged him. And then, years later it comes out and it's actually a real thing. And so I felt like it was kind of a matter of conscience to keep talking about it. And then on top of that, Virginia Giuffre died. And what really upset me about that was Benny Johnson reported about her winding up in the hospital. She seemed to imply that she was going to be killed. Benny Johnson felt she was going to be killed. And there was like this impending sense of doom that she was going to die for like 2 weeks, and then she dies. And nobody did anything. And so I kind of was like, well, the least we could do is keep talking about this and not let this go, because clearly somebody wants to bury this story. And so we're not going to let it go. I mean, I know it's politics, but it's not my fault that one of the most disgusting conspiracy theories I ever heard turned out to be true. So here we are.
Here we are.
So
sorry about that.
No, you're good, man.
I can hold it for 20 minutes. I'm gonna start wearing diapers or something.
There you go. There you go. Catheter. So, all right. Is there anything else you want to talk about regarding this subject, Mr. Trevor?
No, I think that's a good start.
Okay.
Maybe
All
we'll
right.
dive a little deeper next time. I can do a little better research.
No, you're good, man. Just it doesn't matter what the subject is. Just stay away from Wikipedia. It's always going to be terrible.
Okay.
Unless you're like a sycophant for Big Brother. So, all right. Well, I guess we're moving on to the next subject, huh?
Okay. What was the next subject?
Well, I was gonna read a chapter of the book that's coming out, and then we were gonna react to the alien thing, assuming we can get this lag thing dealt with. Of course, if we have big lag issues, well, then again, it is a voiceover, so maybe the lag thing won't be so bad with the Book of Alien Races thing, because there's nobody really talking. So,
Right.
yeah. So I
That's that
figured
one.
we would. Yep.
Okay.
And so I figured I would read the first chapter of The Familiar. It's kind of a promotion for the book. And then we'll move on to the alien races and call it a night.
All right. Cool. So,
All right,
let me
so-
pull up your screen.
Yeah, let's sign off for the first part of this
Okay.
episode. So, guys, if you are on the live stream, stay with us. We've got 2 more segments left. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time
Thank you.
on to part 3.
All right.
All right. I hate advertising for the book. It's just so painfully awkward.
Why is it awkward?
Because I feel like I'm asking for a handout. I'm like, I know it's my book and it's a product, and it's perfectly fine to ask for money for a product, but I still feel like Oliver Twist going, please, sir, I want some more.
Uh-oh.
So I feel like a dingus. But what are you gonna do? It's just got to get done, It's just,
Yeah.
I think it's a good book. I worked on it for years, so it ought to be a good book.
It's a little off center. You want me to fix that, or do you want to fix it?
Go ahead and pull it up, and I'll fix it because I can scroll left and right until it's centered.
Let's see. There we go.
Okay, I'm not seeing it on my end. Is it on the OBS screen? Let me check.
Yeah, I got it.
Let me
on
check the live
OBS.
stream really quick. I will click on the live stream right until it's centered. There we go. Oh, we're such professionals. This is beautiful.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm not seeing it on my end. There we go. So we'll pause it there. I still can't see it on my end.
All right, hold on. Let me fix it.
All right, hang on.
I had it fixed before we started.
Yeah, it was right before we started. That's all right.
Oh, I can't fix it while I'm not live streaming.
Well, that didn't work. You can't fix it while you're live streaming, huh?
No, I can. I just gotta. Everybody's gonna.
You may just have to
see me
switch the
fix it.
channels. Well, that's all right. So let me do the introduction while you're doing that. So welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Try It Podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. And today, we're going to read a chapter of my book, promotion for the book, which is available on Amazon for pre-order, and is officially coming out on February 3rd. And eventually, if I can get them uploaded, they will also be available on Apple, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and anywhere else I can think of that will give me money. So there you go. So we're going to do the first chapter of the book. And if you like it and you don't think my writing sucks, you can get the rest of it. Or you can join Substack and read the Starward Exiles. I'm just going to keep advertising things till we get this figured out.
All right.
Starward Exiles is about an alien invasion and the Second Nordic War. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
If you want to read that sci-fi serial, go to my Substack, Gary Paul Varner, at GaryPaulVarner.com. 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 All right. Are we ready?
Well done. I swear
Well,
I
like
had
I
this
used-
fixed.
I feel like
Before
a
we
used
started.
car salesman.
I spent like 30 minutes fixing this, and it was ready to go. And then we get here, and it's like, oh, gotta
It's all going to
refix it.
blow up at the 11th hour, So,
11:20.
11:20. All right. Okay. Are we ready?
I think Freddy's ready.
All right. We'll see how this goes. The Familiar, Chapter 1. If you want to meet a vampire, go to a hospital. I chuckled and shook my head. 3 days. Madeline said 3 days. If that was true, then tonight my grandmother would rise from the dead. My name is Jerome. I'm a familiar. It's such a friendly term, isn't it? When someone says familiar, they're thinking of people and things they know. No one considers the word slave. A familiar is someone who allows a vampire to suck their blood. People who know the term usually assume the familiar is
suck your blood.
Pretty much.
Sorry.
It's all right. The familiar, blah, blah. I'm all turned around. Darn you, Trevor. Okay. People who know the term usually assume the familiar is hoping the vampire will turn them. This isn't always true. Some of us are just poor. There was a sudden gust of wind, which stole what remained of the heat I'd managed to save under my jacket. Shivering, I pulled out a cigarette, the last in the pack, and with trembling hands, I raised the cigarette to my blue lips and pulled out a lighter. The flickering flame teased the edge for a full minute before igniting the tobacco, giving me plenty of time to remember that bumming the smoke was how I'd fallen into this mess in the first place. 2 years ago, my life was a blur of hospital visits and one echoing word: cancer. My parents had died in gutters on the back end of Who Gives a Shit, and all I had in the world was my grandmother. The cancer struck fast, and we had no money. I remember sitting by her bedside one night, crying when I knew she was asleep. The hospital was lousy. I don't even think the bed sheets were properly cleaned. Nurses can be apathetic pricks. One particular abomination to human decency shuffled into the room on hams for legs and curtly told me visiting hours were over. I looked at her, eyes pleading for another minute to collect myself, but she met my gaze with a snort, as if telling mourning family members to buzz off was the only pleasure left in her miserable life. She waddled to the door and held it open, staring at me like an ogre guarding her post. I stood up and left my grandmother alone with the ogre, giving her a reproachful glare as I passed by. She met my gaze with a smug grin. I went to the waiting room and cried some more. I didn't have anywhere else to go. Our house was across town, and I had no money for a cab. I'd spent the last of my college grant on textbooks and was just trying to survive until next semester's check. As I sat there, weeping, I noticed a woman with green hair like seaweed. She wore an expensive suit with a fancy overcoat and sunglasses. Since we were in a hospital, I assumed she'd been crying and didn't want anyone to see. She maintained the stiff, proper disposition people carry when they're trying not to draw attention to themselves. Baffled by seeing a woman of green hair dressed in a business suit, I stared at the woman until she looked my direction. She smiled. I smiled back, then returned to my tears. Eventually, I glanced up and noticed a sign for a smoking section outside. I rose with a final disgusting sniffle, wiping snot on my arm. I buttoned my jacket and walked out, waiting for someone who smoked in the hopes of borrowing a cigarette. It didn't take long to meet a fellow who was having the same kind of day I was. He took one look at me and pulled out a cigarette and a lighter. I took the death stick as he flicked the lighter and held the open flame over the cigarette's edge with trembling hands. I puffed until it was lit, then gave the man a grateful nod. He returned the gesture, and the two of us smoked in silence. It was cold, not one of those brisk nights with bright stars, but a night carrying a bland overcast and a faint mist. Before long, the man dropped his half-finished cigarette and stamped it out on the damp sidewalk. I remained, determined to ride the small nicotine high for all it was worth. I didn't hear her behind me. One moment I was alone, the next she was there, looking at the cloudy sky. "Having a bad day?" she asked. "Yeah," I said, "Grandma." She nodded. "Typical in a place like this. I'm Madeline, Jerome. Would you like another lung dart?" I blinked at her, confused. Then she pulled out a packet of cigarettes, and I gave her a small smile and nodded. I took the second cigarette and held it in my fingers while I finished smoking what I had. "Thanks." She nodded and lit a cigarette of her own. We stood for a while, saying nothing. When I'd lit the second cigarette, using what remained of the first one, she asked, "What's wrong with your grandma?" I tossed the first cigarette onto the sidewalk and told her my story. The whole time I was speaking, I never wondered why this attractive girl was paying attention to me. I just kept jabbering as she nodded sympathetically. After taking a deep drag and letting out a quivering sigh, I ended my monologue by saying, "So yeah, cancer. The doctors don't know what kind and say they can't do anything. The doctors here don't seem to know much. It's a shame you can't take her someplace better. I would if I had the money, I said. Where? I shrugged. I know there was a cancer treatment center in Tulsa. Maybe I could find a decent doctor there. Perhaps. She stared at me, her green eyes bright and intense, with a kind of focus I'd never seen before. The sound of passing cars and the typical noises of the city's nightlife drifted away. I felt trapped in a bubble of frozen time and space. I want you to do me a favor, she said, a small smile growing on her perfect lips. I want you to take me seriously. What if I could give you the money? Any sane person would have been thinking, what's the catch? What does she want? Anything that sounds too good to be true probably is. But what can I say? I was desperate. I looked at her and started to hope. I don't know. I'd be grateful, I guess. Madeline broke our gaze, turning and staring into the night. She grinned. It's not free. Nothing is. But I can give you the money. Look, lady, I'm willing to do whatever, but I can't promise I'd be very good at it. I was so shocked these words came from my mouth, I almost cut my hands over my face like a bashful schoolgirl. My eyes fell to the concrete as I dropped the cigarette and prepared to do whatever. She laughed. It sounded radiant and sinister. I don't know if I've ever met somebody so eager. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at me. I want you to look at me, and when you see it, don't run away. If you run, I'll be gone. You won't get your money. Do you understand? Sure. Okay. She turned and met my eyes. Then she opened her mouth. Her canines grew into fangs. They simply elongated until they were pressing against her bottom lip. I don't know why I didn't run back into the hospital screaming. I knew what she was the instant I saw those teeth. My mind didn't race through a list of ridiculous explanations. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't an illusion. The teeth were real. She was real. I stared at those fangs in wonder and even awe. I stepped toward her, and she took a step back. Do you know what I am? I nodded. You're not afraid? I don't know. Madeline gave me an odd look, an expression that communicated both charm and chagrin. Here's the deal, she began, taking on a business-like tone. You let me feed on you, I give you the money. Some people say vampires have a certain hypnotic ability. They can erode a person's will, make them do whatever they want. But she didn't need to hypnotize me. I can't imagine I'm the first person she'd ensnared at a hospital. Besides, I wasn't afraid. I'm not going to say I wanted to feel her teeth in my neck, that I wanted to be a vampire. But at the time, the risk didn't seem real to me. One feeding? She shook her head. No, I will pay you so much for each session. But it will be more than enough to afford your grandmother's treatments, and you'll have plenty extra. Won't I turn into a vampire? It'll be years before you have to worry about that, but if it isn't something you want, then write a will and tell your family you wish to be cremated. You don't have to turn. Will it hurt? No. It's one of the most pleasurable experiences you'll ever have. I wish I could say I asked more questions, been more hesitant, but I didn't, and I wasn't. I said, okay. It was that simple. She led me to some back alleyway. She took off her clothes, all of them. They say vampires are uncommonly beautiful, and this is absolutely true. She took off my pants and had me lay on the cold cement, felt around my leg, and bit my calf. The vampire was right. It was pleasurable. There's no other way to describe it. When she was done, I wanted her to do it more, and I could tell she wanted to continue feeding, but instead she sat up and reached into her pile of clothes, pulling out a package of baby wipes from her coat pocket. She wiped the blood from her mouth and body and wrapped my wound with some gauze from her purse. It wasn't thorough work, just enough to stop the bleeding. She took me to a nearby hotel. There, we showered and she wrote a check. Madeline told me good night and promised to see me again. It wasn't an incredible sum of money, but it was more than I'd seen in my young life. The following day, I went to the nearest bank, certain the check would bounce. It didn't, and I left the bank with thousands of dollars in my pocket. I returned to the hospital, paid the ogres in charge of billing, and had my grandmother discharged the same afternoon. I took her to Tulsa. It wasn't long before my grandma's cancer was in remission, and we were living in a nearby suburb. The cigarette finished, I stamped it out on the soft mound of freshly torn earth. I placed a hand on the tombstone and looked at the photo of my grandmother grafted into the granite. She never could have afforded such a marker without Madeline's money. Was that ironic or just plain horrible? She wasn't supposed to get involved. Taking a step forward, I hit the tombstone with a clenched fist. The supernatural isn't supposed to be so mundane. The word mundane sounded strange coming from my mouth. It wasn't part of my regular vocabulary, but I couldn't think of a better way to describe the experience. I couldn't call the last 2 years normal, but my feeding sessions with the vampire had seemed so insignificant. She showed up at our door twice a month. We'd go on what could only be described as a date or stay in the apartment while she watched me eat pizza, stroking my hair and gazing at me with those dark green, fathomless eyes. When she was gone, my encounters with her would fade from my mind. I'd forget how her fangs grew, how when she watched me, she wouldn't move or breathe. Things were just so comfortable. It's possible the vampire wanted me to feel safe, so I wouldn't pay attention to her real target. My grandmother was wounded, weak, and Madeline was a predator. Eventually, the vampire disappeared, and when my grandmother died, it was sudden. I'd woken up that morning and found her just gone. I'm sorry, I told the tombstone. I should have checked. I could have done that much. I don't expect you to forgive me, but before you wake, know how sorry I am. If I could change things, I would. She isn't rising, Jerome. I turned and saw the vampire behind me. Seething, I screamed, 6 months! You've been gone 6 months, and a week after she dies, you show up? I can't think of a better way to admit I didn't kill her. Why should I believe you? Did you check her for a bite? I opened my mouth to scream that of course I had, but it was a lie. I just said the opposite a second earlier. No doubt she heard me, which was probably why she'd chosen to reveal herself. I closed my mouth and stared at the mound of dirt. Of course you didn't, Madeline said. You wanted to believe it was me. You couldn't accept that the doctors were wrong. People build their narratives, Jerome, and they love to turn creatures like me into the villain. I can't say I'm surprised, but I'm a little hurt. I looked up at her, feeling ashamed, but also wondering if I should feel guilty for assuming the obvious. She was a vampire. What else was I supposed to think? Madeline raised an eyebrow, a small smile growing on her lips. Was your plan to let her feed on you? That's not very noble. She'd kill others. What about Nancy? I blinked, then looked back down at the ground. More shame twisted my stomach in knots as I realized I would have turned my grandmother into a killer. Then that shame was overwhelmed by horror when I remembered the vampire had said my fiance's name. I fell to my knees. My fingers dug into the mud. I ground my teeth. Why couldn't I do anything right? My death was supposed to protect her. How do you know about her? I whispered. Madeline shook her head. Jerome, I left because of your anemia. My supply of familiars in the States is thin, and I was using you too much. You needed to rest, so I returned to Italy. But I never forgot about you, and much has changed in the last 6 months. Stay away from her, I muttered. I have no ill will toward your lover, Madeline said. I was gone, and your grandmother was ailing. Nancy served as an adequate substitute. She's not a substitute, I hissed. I love her. Don't you love me too? The vampire purred. I glared at her. Madeline only smiled. She approached me and offered her hand. When I didn't take it, she swooped her arms under my shoulders and lifted me from the mud. She did this so quickly I never saw her motion. The vampire looked me up and down and brushed the caked dirt from my jacket and jeans. Backing away, she nodded, satisfied. Jerome, I can't convince you of my innocence. I understand this. You're a man, a mortal who has lost someone dear. You're incapable of rational thought. I opened my mouth to argue, but she raised a brisk hand. But I want you to know that you can keep your Nancy. I like the girl. There's no need for competition. You can have both. To demonstrate this fact, I want you to attend a party. I'll be leaving tomorrow. Tonight, I'm going to give you a check and an address. My grandmother just died, I said. And you want me to go to a party? I've kept a lot of things from you. You had obligations. Madeline tilted her head toward the tombstone. Obligations that are no longer relevant. Nancy does complicate matters, but the problem is manageable. You'll see. I looked back at my grandmother's grave. I wanted to tell the vampire no, but did I really have a choice? What would she do if I denied the offer? What would happen if I ended our arrangement? And what if Madeline had really killed my grandmother? Would I ever know? And could I keep letting her use me, knowing she might have murdered my only real parent? Did any of these questions matter? I sighed and shook my head, defeated. Of course they didn't, not if I wanted to see the dawn. Fine, I said. Madeline nodded. Good. Now, I need to feed, and you need your check. She casually stripped out of her clothes as if she weren't standing over a grave. I looked over my shoulder at the face of my smiling grandmother, forever etched in granite, and undid my pants. Madeline knelt and jerked my pants down to my ankles. She bit the wound on my calf as I stared at the curtain of darkness surrounding the trees, feeling the euphoria of her venom and the blood leaving my body. When she was done, she stood, pulling up my pants and readjusting my clothing until she was certain everything was properly aligned. Then she gathered her clothes in her arms and pulled from a pocket the check that was already filled out. I took the check, and she then offered me a scrap of paper which had her address. I took it as well, examined the address, and when I looked back at her, she was smiling. The vampire kissed my cheek. "You'll believe me in time," she whispered in my ear. With that, Madeline vanished. I turned to the tombstone. Blood smeared my grandmother's picture. Did she do that on purpose? I knelt, wiping the blood from her image, and wept. And that's chapter 1.
That's crazy. I like it.
Thank you, sir. So, there's my ad. I'll do one more scene from the book before it comes out on February.
Okay.
So,
That was pretty good.
well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. How much time did we kill?
I'm not sure. When did we start it?
I wasn't looking.
We got about 20 minutes into it, I think.
So that took about 20 minutes, huh? All right, hang on. I know how to do this. Yeah, so... No, it's not giving me a time set. 18 minutes. Okay, so we got another 5 minutes to kill.
5 minutes.
To make this a podcast. So, let's think here. So, yeah, that is The Familiar. Obviously, it's about a vampire and a guy who doesn't want to be the vampire slave. And, sorry, go on.
Well, I had a question and I lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go
My
ahead.
bad. Oh, no, the vampire knows about his fiancée, who will later become his wife, and not hilarity, but, you know, the vampire wants his wife, so that's basically the plot of the book. There's some other things that happen, too. Ends up killing a few vampires and all sorts of fun stuff.
Why does the vampire want his wife or fiance?
Because Nancy looks. That's the idea. Basically, it's a little complicated, but the vampire kind of has this attitude that people don't really like. They like basically hang out with her because she's scared of her, you know, like they're scared of her. And Nancy is naturally curious and inquisitive, and the vampire finds that charming. And so the vampire ends up becoming obsessed. And also, Jerome bows up to her, which she likes. And so she also wants to grab Nancy as a way to kind of keep him in her pocket. So it's both she really likes Nancy and she's also manipulating Jerome into staying with her.
Is there any like the pleasure he feels like at all? Is it any of that sexual, or is it just the euphoric losing of blood type thing?
I haven't really decided. I think it's kind of both.
Oh, okay.
So it's like it's an aphrodisiac is kind of how I pictured it. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
So it's like being high.
Yeah.
Really, The Familiar is kind of it's an allegory for addiction. One of the reasons I've always found like vampires so interesting is, I always felt like that compulsion component for the lusting for blood and that kind of thing. I always thought it kind of served as, you know, an allegory, something that takes over somebody. So I wanted to write the book from that angle.
Makes sense of the whole bloodlust. Thing.
Yeah. So, and also I don't like vampires Twilight was fine for what it was, but I'm not a fan of vampires that sparkle. So I wanted to do something different.
Sparkling vampires.
Yeah.
Is there anything that sets your vampires apart from everyone else's?
In my opinion, yes. I tried very hard to go lean with the actual Gothic model. That is to say, like, the crucifixes actually work. You know, they're not it's not like Buffy the Vampire Slayer where everybody's got like a complex and.
Yeah, I never watched that one.
Yeah, the thing that kind of makes me angry about the whole vampire lore is in the modern day, they're always trying to like cheat what it was about, you know. And the Bram Stoker, which I need to do a review on this. I've been planning on doing a review on this for this channel, but I want to make the case that Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker that came out in the early 2000s is actually a freaking terrible movie, and I hate it. And I want to like attack it with everything I have, because everybody's always like, oh, the Dracula from Francis Ford Coppola, it's so amazing. I'm like, no, it's not. It's awful. It's absolutely awful, because the thing about the vampire novel in the 1800s, like Dracula, is that at the time, hypnosis was a big thing. It's still a Christian culture, and it's rejecting the idea of dualism, this idea that good and evil are just a matter of perspectives and they're equal countervailing forces. Like, evil is a distortion, like it's a perversion. And so the thing that's horrifying about the vampire in Bram Stoker's book is that it's a corrupting element. So, for example, Lucy in the Coppola version is like, she's like a whore in the movie. She's like flirting with this man, and she's a tease, and they treat her like this scandalous person. But in the book, she's very virtuous. She's very good, and she's so good and virtuous that there's 3 men that like her. She makes a comment in the book about how she wishes she could marry all of them instead of just having to pick one, but that's because she likes all of them too. It's not because she's a tease. And that's important because in the book, she later becomes the lady in white and ends up killing a bunch of kids. And the idea behind that is that there is this there's this corrupting, distorting nature to evil that warps good. That's what makes the vampire scary.
Yeah.
Is that it takes what somebody is and warps them. Yep. Instead, the freaking Coppola version does this weird, stupid reincarnation narrative and acts like, oh, good and evil's just a matter of perspective and all that hippie new age crap, or modern relativist crap, I guess. And I hate that. I hate that, because the scary thing about the vampire is the loss of self. And so going into the corrupting nature of evil. Now, my characters are still sentient, like the vampires are still people in that respect, but the idea of like evil actually being corrupting is what I wanted to write about.
I gotcha. Kind of like, not really, but underworld's vampires. There's the battle against lichens. Werewolves.
Yeah.
They're not actually like trying to be evil or anything. They're just trying to survive, just like everybody else.
Yeah. They're a little closer to the vampires in Underworld. The big difference would be, though, like the hunger, like the bloodlust is, it's like a parasitic demon type of thing. So it's actually like an active force that's, trying to manipulate them. So I was trying to hone in on that more specifically. That whole, again, corrupting nature of evil thing. So, sorry, I didn't mean to rant, but I like what vampires could be, but I kind of hate what they are in our culture.
Yeah.
So I wanted to write what I thought a vampire should be, I guess.
So far, I like it. So.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully other people enjoyed it too.
Read it when I get it. See how it turns out.
I hope you like it. You're a subscriber to the newsletter, so you should have got excuse me. You should have got the short story that I'm using as a launch leader for the newsletter. Like if you subscribe,
I did see that. I didn't read it, but I did see it.
Yeah, well, if you want to get another facet of it, it's there. So it kind of takes place between from Jerome's timeline between book 1 and book 2 of his point of view. So
sweet.
Yeah. So it's there. And Used Car Salesman Line, if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, you can get that short story too. I hate this crap. I hate marketing. I hate it. Anyway, so
like and subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe, follow, share, subscribe, like. So anyway, okay. I think I've ranted enough to earn this to make this an episode of the podcast. So I think we're good. Sweet. All right. I did catch one typo in there though. Dadgum, that makes me.
Yeah, I saw one. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's the other infuriating thing about writing. I have went over this thing countless times for years, and you always find something.
Always, every
It's
time.
infuriating. I don't know. I don't know if it's because things get changed as you make edits, and then stuff kind of gets moved around and shifted. But it just seems like there's always a new copyright. So,
Yeah, I don't know
or
how
a copy editing issue.
I don't know how editors can do that. Just read and be like, oh, there's a problem. Fix.
Well, that's why they have like teams of editors. Like in like traditional publishing houses, there's like 12 editors because there's just always stuff. So, all right, well, guys, that's all we have for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you are watching this on the live stream, stay with us. We got one more segment left. If you are watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you.
On to part 3.
Pop for the cools.
Yeah. All right, I guess I will lead us in for this last bit. So, welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Triad Podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up. And today, I have been working on a serial of short stories called The Starward Exiles, and during my prep for the serial, for one of the entries, I came across this video. And it turns out, I was doing research on aliens. I was trying to get a sense of what the alien lore is and like UFOlogy and all this, like what the Stephen Greers and those guys think. And it turns out, Trevor, there are like 82 species of aliens.
82?
It's ridiculous. There's like this whole...
Where did they come up with that?
I have no clue. Anyway, so this book called The Book of Alien Races came out. Yeah, go ahead and pull it up. It came out, and it basically gives like a rapid fire of all these different types of aliens. And I was interested, astonished that there were so many, but interested. Makes me wonder what species of aliens are driving those lights around my house. I blame the Greys.
Blame the Greys.
Yeah. Of course, it's funny because for all the species that there are, there's like a jillion different versions of the same 3. So it's like reptilians, the blondes, and then the grays, you know?
Yeah.
And it's basically like, it's probably just all people either in spacesuits or running around in jumpsuits. I don't know. It seems like people to me. But what do I know? But anyway, so I thought we would watch this and just react a little bit because I thought it was fascinating. So whenever you're ready, good sir.
Let's watch this. There are some good aliens, but also some bad ones. Oh, look, a gray.
It's a gray.
We'll go through the different kinds. Some are not mentioned in the book.
Agarians, or Agartians, a group of Asiatic or Nordic humans who, sources claim, discovered a vast system of caverns below the region of the Gobi Desert and surrounding areas thousands of years ago, and have since established a thriving kingdom within, one which has been interacting with other planetary systems up until current times. Alpha Draconians, reptilian beings who are said to have established colonies in Alpha Draconis. Like all reptilians, these claim to have originated on Terra thousands of years ago, a fact that they used to justify their
Okay, I gotta
attempt
pause. Just so you know, I think Terra is Earth. Let me Google that to make sure, but...
Just like Tartaria?
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, Tartaria.
It's one of our greatest episodes ever, wouldn't it?
It made the most people mad for some incomprehensible reason. Tartaria was real, you buggers! Yes, so Terra is Earth in alien lore. I don't know why, but, you know, we can't just say Earth, it's Terra. So, all right. I just wanted to clarify that for people who didn't know. The reptilians...
Tarot cards?
I guess. I don't know.
Earth cards?
Terra, planet, you know what I mean? It's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of one of the reasons, you know, a lot of this is fake, because it's like Terra, terrain. You know, they just took a root word that is like, you know, sounds like clever. And, you know, they're like, this root word, which implies a history, is gonna sound kind of remind people of Earth, and it's gonna make but it's still gonna make the aliens sound elegant or whatever.
Right.
I'm like, you guys are just like creating pig Latin to give the aliens a language or something.
Just
So
add
when it
an A
says
at everything, at the end of
yeah,
everything.
and they always want to sound so ethereal and special, but it's like, oh, the reptilians came from Terra. Well, why didn't you just say the reptilians came from Earth? Like, that's what you mean. The reptilians were here before people. Why do you have to call it Terra? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I shouldn't have to Google what Terra means. Just say Earth. But I'm probably ranting about nothing. But anyway, sorry, go on.
The Earth for their own. They are apparently a major part of a planned invasion which is eventually turning from covert infiltration mode to overt invasion mode as the window of opportunity, the time span before international human society becomes an interplanetary and interstellar power, slowly begins to close. They are attempting to keep the window open by suppressing advanced technology from the masses, which would lead to eventual Terran colonization of other planets by Earth and an eventual solution to the population, pollution, food and other environmental problems. Being that Terrans have an inbred warrior instinct, the Draconians do not want us to attain interstellar capabilities and therefore become a threat to their imperialistic agendas. Refer to Els. Altarians.
Okay, so
Alleged reptilian
basically, the reptilians are keeping us down, man. Reptilians are keeping us down. They're holding back the tech. And is this okay? I'm gonna Google something here.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on doing this. I don't like, Googling in the middle of the live stream.
Yeah, they're
But did
coming
David?
up from the deep to hold us back.
Yeah,
Because
it's
don't
the
they have
man,
like
man.
whole civilizations underneath us? Like that's their whole.
That's Hollow Earth theory. So David Icke popularized the modern reptilian idea. I don't know if you can can you pull up a picture of David Icke just to give everybody a reference? So
Let's see.
Icke introduced this concept in his 1999 book, The Biggest Secret, which synthesized various esoteric, ancient alien, and existing conspiracy sources into his specific narrative. Origin. Icke claims these reptilians, also called archons, reptoids, are Anunnaki. Now, see, Anunnaki, they also say those are the people that made us. So I guess some people think that, oh, look at this, the roadmap. I'm going to show you the truth. I am not a cult. I am not a cult at all. Anyway. So, okay, oh my gosh. The voice of truth. I'm sorry. God complex, anyone? I didn't know we were gonna come across that. So, good night. And what a weird photo. Like, look, go back to this. He's got this weird sidelong glance, like he can't even believe what he's saying in the caption. Good night. The author, David Icke, the voice of truth, giving us a facial expression reminiscent of Tim Allen from Home Improvement. But anyway, so that's him. Apparently, Icke claims that these reptilians or archons or reptoids or Anunnaki come from the Alpha Draconis star system or are interdimensional beings, either or. They have control mechanisms, so he alleges that these entities take human form and infiltrate positions of political and social power to manipulate human societies. They supposedly hide in underground bases and use a Babylonian Brotherhood, or Illuminati, as a front.
Dear.
As a front. Of course, this is Google, so I'm sure they're being unfavorable, but anyway. So, identified figures. Icke has claimed that numerous world leaders and public figures are part of this reptilian elite, including the British royal family, the Rothschild family, and members of the Bush family. Now, in this documentary, that's actually a different class of reptilian, not the alpha reptilians or whatever that second group was. So there's that. Just something to bear in mind. These are different types of reptilians. So, okay, so yeah, Babylonian Brotherhood, Illuminati, Bush family is reptilian. Sources of inspiration. So this is where Google thinks he got the ideas from. So Google believes that his sources of inspiration are the Serpent Men from Robert E. Howard. So Robert E. Howard created the Serpent Men, a fictional species from the American author's 1929 stories. Now, Robert
pull
E.
up your stream.
My stream?
Your screen.
Oh, yeah, sure. That'd be great. That would be fine. Okie dokie. So, yeah. Robert E. Howard is the guy that came up with Solomon Kane and Conan the Barbarian, by the way. Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa. I don't know who that is. Ike cited Mutwa's accounts of reptilian beings, Chitari, that bred with humans. Well, that sounds like demons. Zakaria Stitchman Anunnaki, based on controversial interpretations of ancient Sumerian texts, which Stitchin claimed described an alien race that engineered humanity. Yeah, the Anunnaki are different from the reptilians. They're not classified as the reptilians. You screwed it up, Google. Anyway, it's a different group. So
sounds like Anunnaki.
Yeah, Anunnaki.
Oh,
Knock,
it's the
knock.
same thing.
Yeah, I'm just mispronouncing it because I'm an idiot. I'm surprised you know the correct pronunciation and I don't. I've been calling them the Anunnaki for
my bad. I thought you were talking about something else. I'm like, is it Anunnaki?
No, I was being a butt. So anyway, all right. You want? I guess since we have a backdrop now, you can go on. I apologize.
Inhabitants of the Altair stellar system in the constellation Aquila, in collaboration with a smaller Nordic human element and a collaborative Grey and Terran military presence. Headquarters of a collective known as the Corporate, which maintains
By the way,
ties with the Ashtar and...
Terran means human.
Wait, so
just
Terra
so you know.
is Earth and Terran is human.
They couldn't just say people. It's got to be Terrans.
People or the CIA.
We gotta sound mystical. Yeah, well, yeah. Supposedly the CIA or some government op is working with the Greys and the reptilians or something. So.
I think they're just dressing up in cool suits.
Yeah, that's probably all just like, cool suits and whatnot. Anyway, so I guess I shouldn't be too harsh. I did borrow stuff from this show in my lore for the short stories. So I guess I am being a little hypocritical by making fun of this because I did use their ideas. But anyway, sorry, go on.
It's like a little clay figurine.
Well, that is a little clay figurine. Yeah, they're just giving you an example of what a reptilian looks like, or a Gray. It's like both. You want to see the real deal? It's probably disappointing.
Draconian
probably look just like you.
Draconian Ashtar Command. Amphibians. Similar to the saurians or reptiloids, yet being hominoid creatures with reptilian as well as amphibian-like features and are semi-aquatic in nature. May have once lived on land, yet became more aquatic over the centuries.
You gonna say it or you want me to say it?
Do it. Do it!
What does he say?
It's
Dang it. I had it and then I lost it.
The suspense is killing me, Trevor. Get on with it.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
There it is.
Yeah, Admiral Akbar. He's an amphibian.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Yep.
They have been encountered near swampy regions, rivers, etc., and have been known to attack people without being provoked. It is interesting that some types of greys and reptiloids are believed to be semi-aquatic, having webbed fingers and toes. Anakim, also referred to the elves, short for elder race or simply as the giants. Referred to in ancient Hebrew tradition, this race is allegedly tied in with a branch of ancient humans.
So why didn't they say Nephilim? Because they're called the Nephilim in Hebrew tradition.
Really?
Yeah, he's talking about the Nephilim, the giants.
Huh.
Yeah.
I just thought they were the Ananites.
I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the Hebrew tradition would be the Nephilim, the giants.
Wow.
So, okay, anyway. So there's that.
Mainstream humanity because of their vast size which had developed over the centuries, possibly as a result of a genetic anomaly. They are said to range anywhere from 9 to 11 feet and in some cases even 12 feet in height, although in configuration they are remarkably similar to international humans. Are said to possess a means of molecular condensing and expansion which allows some of their kind to mingle among humans on the surface. They have allegedly been encountered in deep and extensive cavern systems below the western part of North America, as far north as Alaska, as far south as Mexico, and as far east as Texas. They are believed to have
As far east as Texas.
Yeah, interesting story. Did you know Abraham Lincoln actually kind of believed in I think he believed in the giants because they found some large bodies, I think, around Niagara Falls in the 1800s, or at least that was the belief.
Texas is not in the Far East.
I know, but there's
It's right in
American
the
giants,
Midwest.
is my point.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so they actually thought there were giants in the 1800s, believe it or not.
Wow.
So it wasn't an uncommon idea. But then we got all enlightened and crap, quote unquote. Now nothing exists beyond us because,
or they just wanted
narcissists.
us to not believe in anything and just be robots in their one world government.
Shh. The reptilians will find you, Trevor. What are you talking about? By reptilians, we mean CIA.
I actually think they already found me.
They already found you? Oh,
yeah,
no.
I was talking about the Freemason thing a few weeks ago.
Oh, you think the Freemasons are tied to all this?
They like, I came across the thing like a few weeks ago, and I've been driving down that street for years now, and I only just noticed it a few weeks ago.
Right.
It's like, what? Where did that even come from?
So you think the reptilians are demons or something? Is that what you're getting at?
Probably.
Greg sent me a wonderful meme, but he texted it to me, so I can't share it. But it was basically, I can read it, though.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Oh, my gosh. Why are we copying that guy's shtick? YouTube channel, what do you mean? We recommend it. It's a good channel. We're not making fun of him. I promise. Like, it's a good channel, though. I like him. So, yeah, it's a dude with a military commander. He's like, what do I think of aliens? Demons. Ghosts? Easy. Demons. Bigfoot, fairies, satyrs, DMT, entities, demons. Apparitions of Mary, believe it or not, demons. Yeah. So he's like, everything's demons. And then I put, CIA, demons. So
demons.
Yeah.
Every three-letter organization. Demons.
Every three-letter organization, right. So anyway, I wish I could have shown that meme, but I can't. Apologies. Moving on. We'll just call it making it
traveling capabilities. Andromedans. The Andromedan Council has ordered all extraterrestrial presences on the planet, in the planet, and on the moon to be completely out of our space. They want everything that's ET, benevolent or not, off the planet. This will be very interesting since there are over 1,833 reptilians living in our planet and over 18,000 greys living underground and on the moon. The council would like to see how we will live with each other when we are not being manipulated by ETs, as we have been for the last 5,723 years. Anunnaki. Nimrod was a worshipper of Anu. Nimrod, unlike Abraham, did not believe in an unseen deity. Nimrod wanted Abraham to worship Anu, the Most High, known as Elon. Nimrod was the founder of the city of Babylon, and his most renowned architectural influence.
Okay.
Timeline's a little off.
I think their timeline's a little off. Yeah, I think Nimrod's a little bit before Abraham, just a smidge.
Just a few hundred years.
Yeah, or like thousands, But whatever, details, whatever.
It's just like most people don't realize that Job was more than likely around Abraham's time instead of David's time.
Yeah, I always assumed. I always told that Job was the first book written, or like the oldest of the books.
Something like that. It's one of the oldest.
What's believed to be the oldest book. I don't know why people say that, but that's what they believe apparently. Sorry, go on.
It's confusing because it's like right in the middle of the Bible, next to Psalms.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like, why would they mm, put why would they put something out of timeline in the middle of the Bible?
yeah. Well, that's a good question.
Probably because it's one of the most important stories.
Mm-hmm. That's a good, yeah, yeah.
Was the construction of the Tower of Babel. Nimrod also had a city named in honor of Anu. It was to be called Calneh or Calneh, Genesis 10:10, meaning fortress of Anu. It used to
We
be
might
an
get there.
ancient city in Babylon, Mesopotamia. Calneh is often associated with Nippur, which is one of the 7 cities that was inhabited by the agreeable Anunnaki. Nippur was also known as Kodesh. It was originally called Nabruki, meaning birthplace of Nibiru. It was the city of Enlil, the Anunnaki Elohim, son of Anu and Antum. Not only was Calneh one of Nimrod's cities, there was Babel or Babylon, the ancient site and capital of Babylon.
Oh, my frames.
What?
My frames just went.
Your brains just went what?
No, my frames on
Oh,
my
your
computer.
frames.
It
Oh,
just died.
your
I'm
computer's
gonna
like,
let
I
it catch
quit.
up.
I quit.
It's
I'm
having a hard
done.
time.
This is ridiculous. What are you doing to me? We
5
got to get
frames
you a better
per
computer,
second.
man. We got to get you a better computer, man.
Oh, I don't like that. Okay.
And no likey, huh?
There we go.
Near the
Well,
Euphrates.
all right.
Erech, a city 40 miles northwest of Ur, toward Babylon on the left bank of the Euphrates, and Akkad or Akkad, a city in North Babylon, and a part of the district around it are all a part of the land of Shinar, called by many the country of 2 rivers, literally meaning plains of the flatlands. In the land of Shinar, today called
Dude,
Iraq,
I ain't gonna
is the
lie. I ain't gonna lie. I am so glad this is a voiceover. I'll produce next week so we could get this thing to run smooth. Because
Yeah.
it's like literally like
Yeah, it's not
So.
doing so hot.
It doesn't matter so much because I'm kind of lost at this point on this bunch. I don't even know where we're at.
Yeah,
So
it seems like it's an AI video almost.
well, it can't be an AI video because this actually came out years and years ago. This is an old one. This is like old school YouTube when YouTube didn't suck. So
Oh, 8 years ago. Wow.
yeah, this is like when YouTube
YouTube's
was
peak,
actually cool.
basically.
Yeah, before it turned all purely commie. So
Yeah. Before Google bought it out.
yeah, before Google bought it out. Yeah.
Pre-Google.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll go on. We got a few more minutes left.
place where the ancient Sumerians came to set up an advanced civilization where you'd find pictograph cuneiform writings. Excerpted from the Spell of Leviathan 666, Spell of King U, by Dr. Malachi Z. York. Antarctican. This is allegedly a secret area of operations for both human and reptilian beings. It is said by some that Aryan Nazi scientists actually developed disc-shaped aircraft capable of very advanced aerial performance, and that swastikas have been seen on a few aerial discs. They may be piloted by a purebred blonde, blue-eyed Aryan race. There appears to be more than
even
one
aliens.
blonde human society and...
Do what?
This isn't even aliens. This is Nazis. These are space Nazis. So an Antarctican.
That would make a great video game. Instead of Nazi zombies.
It's like it's a level for Call of Duty when that franchise gives up.
A new level of Call of Duty.
There we go.
They're actually going there. Like they've started doing space stuff.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
Wow,
I think it's Call of Duty. It might be Battlefield. I'm not sure.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I abandoned the idea of like battle realism when the zombie hordes came in. But I was like, okay, we've given up at this point.
Well, that's Black Ops. That's
that's Black Ops is different. Okay, my mistake.
You got the regular Call of Duty, then you have Call of Duty Black Ops.
Well, it's the same franchise, so I wasn't wrong then.
Yeah, you weren't wrong. It's the same franchise, but
yeah, they gave up at Black Ops. It's like we don't care anymore. Zombies. Everybody likes zombies. Here's some zombies.
Well, they made a killing off of it, so.
Oh, I'm sure.
Now they're all the way up to Black Ops 7.
Really? what was Black Ops? Those are 7 Black Ops or 7 Call of Duties?
So, well, there's like 30 Call of Duties.
Good night.
Yeah.
Dude, I am so old. I lost track so long ago.
Yeah, me too. I'm still stuck on Black Ops 3.
Yeah?
They're on 7. But they've got the regular Black Ops story, or Call of Duty storyline, which is the one we grew up on. And then they have the Black Ops storyline. Complete separate storylines. So, anyways.
I didn't even know there was a storyline, but it shows what I do. I'm not a video game guy.
They have storylines.
So.
All right, we'll go back to the AI.
All right, yeah, let's talk about the flying space
involved in the
Nazis.
UFO scenarios, and especially subterranean human societies may have developed blonde hair due to lack of sunlight. There does not seem to be anything more than a peripheral connection between the Antarctic and...
He looks like Han Solo. You know, maybe
like
not.
a very, very pretty, petite Han Solo. I think Chewie would have ate that Han Solo for breakfast, but okay.
the Telosian and the Pleiadian blondes. That is, we will refer to the Antarcticans as the Aryans, the Telosians as the blondes, and the Pleiadians as the Nordics in order to discourage confusion. The Antarcticans may consist largely of batch-consigned purebred blue-eyed, blonde Aryans who became victims of Hitler's obsession to create a super race, and as suggested by Harbinson and others, most of these may be controlled through mind manipulation and implants, being human drones who are used to keep this hidden society functioning. A massive joint, humanoid reptiloid underground system called the New Berlin is said to lie below the mountains of Neschwibnland, Antarctica. It is said by some sources that this joint human alien force has spread terror through this sector of the galaxy, conquering and committing untold atrocities against the peaceful inhabitants of other worlds. The famous abductee Barney Hill, who along with his wife Betty was abducted by Zeta Reticulum Greys in 1961, stated under aggressive hypnosis that he had encountered an evil-eyed German Nazi working with the Greys on board the craft. It is claimed that the original treaty with the Greys was established by the Bavarian Thule and Illuminati societies as early as 1933.
Illuminati
confirmed, man.
Confirmed.
All right, let's try to get past the space Nazis.
And this collaboration was brought into America via the CIA, which was established with the help of American Nazi fifth column agents as well as European Nazis who were brought into America through Project Paperclip and other operations. Antares.
Okay, all right, we'll stop there. Next week, the Antares. We're gonna find out what the Antares are about.
Sweet.
There's 82 of them. Oh, I know. This documentary was a blast, and I'm being a hypocrite because I totally stole this lore.
Yeah,
but
our editor's gonna have fun with this part.
Well, the editor's me, so you're telling me I'm going to have fun with this part. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're done for this evening, good sir. Did you have fun this time? I had fun this time.
I had fun. Yeah.
I gotta fix that typo in my book.
Yeah, I really like your
annoying.
book. I cannot wait to read it.
Well, thank
I
you, sir.
probably will have a hard time reading it because I have a hard time reading in general, but I can't wait.
There is going to be an audiobook. There is a plan to make an audiobook. It's going to be AI, but at least to start. Like, the plan is to start with an AI audiobook until I get everything till I get something of a routine with all the ads and stuff figured out. And then eventually, if I get far enough ahead, I will do a read by the author version, or I'll hire a friend of mine who is really good at reading audiobooks that I want to use again, and I'll pay him to read it. But there will at least be an AI version.
You could rent an actor.
I am an actor, so like renting myself would be like.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So anyway, but yeah, so I do want to get an audiobook because I understand people don't read so much anymore, and I don't either. So I'd be a hypocrite if I complained about it. So we are going to try to put an audiobook out as quickly as possible. It's just involved. So
Sweet.
But anyway, yeah, if you want the audiobook faster, the goal is to actually have one by the 3rd, but you can't get that one through Amazon, because the way that this whole thing works is like Amazon won't let you do the audiobook until your book is live. And so if you're wanting to get the other audiobook version, you would have to go through Google Play or like Gardeners or some of like the other smaller places through Drafted Digital. They have a version. So the plan is to get an audiobook out by the 3rd, but it's just not going to be through Amazon.
You mean Audible?
No, Amazon. Like, it's not going to be through Audible either. Like, it's going to be through the smaller guys. So, like Google Play.
Yeah.
So, but you should be able to download it though. So
Sweet.
So yeah, but that's the goal. I don't want to say it's already done, because it's not already done, but there's a plan. So
there's a plan for the future.
There's a plan for the future. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah. So buy The Familiar on February 3rd. It's in pre-order now if you want to get it ahead of time. There we go.
Where do they go to pre-order it?
Amazon, Amazon.com, or Gardeners, or Drafted Digital.
Sweet.
Or Google Play. You can also get it for pre-order on Google Play and eventually Apple and Barnes & Noble and Kobo. So, eventually.
Heck yeah.
So.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Trevor. Thank you very much. I enjoyed tonight. I'm looking forward to learning about... I mean, I've already watched this video, but I remember less than half of it. We'll learn about the antares next time, and then we'll figure out what else we're going to get into. So,
sweet.
Any final thoughts?
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our live stream, and don't forget to like if you liked it.
Indubitably. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.